I just wanted to start off, I'm so grateful to my team members who came. If you are one of my team members and work with me at Tourism, can you please just stand up for a second? So none of what we do on behalf of the state could happen without this team. I'm really, really blessed. Tourism has several different departments: state parks, film and music, travel promotion, admin. I'm head of the travel promotion division, and we do all of this. Which is surprising. It surprises me every time I look at it, but we have about 70 to 80 people around the state working on behalf of the tourism industry. Most of us office out of Oklahoma City, but we have a lot of people in our tourism information centers around the state as well. So what I'm going to talk about today, through the last 5 years, we started a research program. Kim Kaplinger is the head of it and has worked very, very hard to help us pick the right products to gain the best knowledge so that we can use that to redefine who we're talking to, how we're talking to them, and what we're showing them. So it's really been the building blocks for our entire program and everything I'm going to show you. So these are probably the heaviest hitters in our arsenal of tourism research platforms. We do economic impact, we do visitor profile, we do advertising effectiveness, we actually have conversion and attribution metrics. We also use Omniture and Google Analytics, we use SurveyMonkey, we use Facebook polls, we use person-to-person questions. We're not at all shy about how we go about getting our information, and we'll use anything we can get our hands on because it really helps us. So Dean Runyon does our economic impact information, and these are some of the biggest stats. So I wowed you a little bit earlier with the 23 million visitors per year. That's from TNS. We also have $8.6 billion a year that they spend here. And that's $634 million in local and state taxes, and it supports about 100,000 jobs. So this is the #3 industry for the state of Oklahoma. It's big business, and it affects everybody. I mean, anything from the coffee that we had today to Panera to the museums in the area. I mean, those are all part of our tourism industry. So we use TNS for our visitor profile study. They tell us how many people are coming, what interests them, how much they're spending when they come here. And the things that we look for predominantly with them is, okay, why do they come here? What makes them spend the most? What makes them spend the least? Because that drives everything that we do from a creative standpoint. So you can see entertainment and amusement, which includes casinos, it includes dining, is one of the biggest categories. So are family reunions, but it's got a very low return for us. The bottom, which sports and recreation, art and culture, and parks and gardens are the highest spend with the smallest visitor population going after them. So our adventure sports, having the new Whitewater district down here, all of the things that we're adding in kind of that arena is driving a lot of business. They'll spend a lot more per trip than somebody coming here for just a family get-together. So we just got information in from TNS. We start our research platforms about March during the year. We get all of our data in by November, and then we present it in December and January to the industry, and that guides what we do for our spring campaign. So some of the things that they've told us, millennial visits are up, which is really great news, and you'll see why a little bit later. Missouri visitation is climbing, and one of the nice things about that, Missouri just took a 50% cut to their tourism budget, as did Texas. So we're going to go in and poach as much of that as we can. So that's a new strategy that we're developing. It just came out that happened, but so we're happy to see their visitations rising. Overnight visits are up. Leisure spending is up. Our visitor spending overall is down a little bit, even though visitation is climbing, and that's because of the low cost of fuel. So when our oil and gas industry has a hard time, lowers the price of gas, so that means people are still coming, but they just don't spend as much in that category. So how did we use this? This is, sorry, got backed up for a second. Okay, so this is part of our Longwoods program. So Longwoods basically, every spring, and we count from January to June, we measure the spend that we did and the advertising effectiveness of that spend. We don't have 2017's numbers in yet, so I wanted to share 2016 with you because we did things a little bit differently. Historically, we've done cable. Before that, we used to do broadcast. Last year, we added programmatic, Gravity, pre-roll, and Facebook to the mix. We were trying to expand our digital presence. We wanted to be able to track things better. Now it's all about measurable. It's not just enough to say we're spending money. We want to know exactly what it's doing for us. So that spend, which was the same as 2015, actually increased viewer awareness by 5%. It brought almost 1.5 million visitors that wouldn't have come otherwise to Oklahoma, and they spent about $210 million in market. This translates to a 7-to-1 return on investment just in state and local taxes. That's a big number for us. It's one we drive home every legislative session in hopes that they'll maintain our budget and keep us going. So this is probably my favorite of our research platforms, mostly because it's just full of information and it's new and it's a little bit creepy. But this is Arrivalist. And basically what Arrivalist does is we put tracking pixels on everything we do digitally, from our newsletters to Facebook to certain pages on our website to run of site to our display ads. We pixel everything we can. When somebody touches one of those mediums and then visits the state with the device that they use to access that, it registers them. We know when they arrive. We know what ad they saw, we know how long it took them to get here, and then we know where they go in the state and if they interact with us while they're here. It's but don't say that. Completely anonymous. It's really not anything that other companies are doing. Google does it. I mean, it's not a new platform. We're just using it, so it's new to us. So what this does for us for the first time ever is actually shows us conversion. It shows us how our ads are working, which ads work better, how long it takes somebody to decide to make a visit to Oklahoma. So it affects our media timing. We've always run media traditionally in the spring. Maybe that's not the best time. So what you're looking at here, we started tracking in August. This is all the arrivals that we have measured since August. Now, Arrivalist tracks about 50% of our impressions, and only if they travel to the state with that device. So you can see the darker green, those are our heaviest travel states, so our surrounding markets. That's where we do the most of our advertising, but it also opens up some new markets for us. What you're seeing here is just the arrivals since April 27th when we started our spring campaign. When you hover over the states, it shows you how many days it took them to arrive. So our number one category, most of our arrivals come within 1 to 7 business days, or 1 to 7 days of seeing something that we put out there, which is pretty interesting. We also see that it goes all the way down to 365 days, but it gives us a little bit more information on how to communicate with them. What we thought was most appealing about this, so we knew we get people from Texas, Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas. We didn't know we got that many people from California, Florida, Louisiana, Minnesota. So this is opening a lot of new markets for us. We'd see their traffic hit our website, but we didn't know for sure that that was potential visitor interest. So we're going to start trying some Facebook campaigns in these markets because it's affordable, we can do it pretty nimbly, and we can just see if we can generate more arrivals out of it. So since we started this, we've had about 31,000 people tracked and come to the state. They've come from 114 countries around the world to 274 cities within Oklahoma. These are the top countries that are sending people here, and these are the top states on the left that are sending people here. I thought Jamaica was kind of interesting. We were all sort of puzzled by that, and a lot of it, we looked at the timing and when they were arriving, and we think it was related to the memorial. So that's something else we can kind of do. We can take this and then take site traffic and kind of approximate, why are people coming? Are there any big events? Is there new business? What's going on that's driving those visits? And then we can also see the ad or the brochure order or what pages they were hitting in our website. Before I leave that, I didn't tell you about Adara. So we have a new platform similar to Arrivalist that also tracks arrivals in as well as airline booking and hotel booking. Unfortunately, they don't have a partnership with Southwest Airlines, which is a big hub for us, but we're actually going to be able to see dollars spent to get here, which is going to be one more tool in our arsenal when we're pleading for our budget. So now I'm going to come to how we use all of that. So we know who's coming here, and that has helped us over the last couple of years really redefine who we're talking to and what we're communicating to them. So historically, the woman up on the top, that's been our primary demographic, moms. Women ages 25 to 54, they're the travel decision makers. That's who we've always talked to. It's been our person. We always have talked for a long time to boomers as well. They were the largest demographic out there, biggest spending income. Things have changed. So we started watching this metric about 4 years ago. And you had boomers, the largest demographic, and you had millennials, which I'm sure you guys are really familiar with this, edging right up behind them. And in 2014, millennials overtook boomers to become the largest demographic. So we had been watching that and really strategizing on, okay, we know they're gonna be big. How do we talk to them? How do we get them to come to Oklahoma? How do we win them to our brand? So a little bit about millennials. 80 million of them in the United States. They have a spending power of $200 billion. Most racially diverse demographic that we've ever seen, and they crave content. So it's a little bit different from our other audiences. As a traveler, they like unique experiences. They want authentic. They don't want to come to a museum and just go to a museum. They want to go to a museum and have an experience there. So some of the things that you've seen, like the yoga in the Myriad Gardens. The Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum just started a program where they're doing, what's it called? The Saloon Series. So basically you get to come in, and it's a 4-week series, so one every week. You come in, you have a saloon experience, you enjoy live music, and they have whiskey tastings. So it's no longer about going to a museum, it's about how do you experience the museum while you're there. So that's something we've focused really heavily on in terms of the video that we've gone out and captured, the messaging that we're showing, and then the activities that we're highlighting. Okay, so where are they? This changed how we market too. It changed our media buy. You have to go where people are. So like I said before, we used to do straight broadcast. We did print. We used to do radio and outdoor. The last couple of years, we've done cable. Last year, we added programmatic and digital. This year, we had to up the ante. We're going after millennials. We've got to be in different places. So, where are they? OTT, streaming services, and 187.5 million people in the United States now get their content from streaming. And it's not just millennials. You can see here, 55 plus, 35 to 54, 25 to 34, 18 to 24. It's in every demographic that we have. Now, it's not a one-stop source. I'm not advising at all that you drop everything that you're doing and just go OTT. I think it's part of a really well-balanced campaign structure. So this spring, we added PreMeon, which is a company that serves programming to all of the OTT platforms. We added Hulu. We'd add Netflix if they'd ever start adding ads. That's where we really want to be. And then we continued with our other platforms, and what we saw was really incredible. So these are the markets that we typically advertise in on the left-hand side, and our historic coverage is the cable households on the left-hand side. So not great coverage in the markets that we're trying to go to. Well, as you move over with the things that we've added, we upped our coverage in our target markets substantially this year, and it really shows. I mean, wait, so you got, okay. Oh, sorry. There you go. Okay, so this spring we had 284 million impressions, which was 65% higher than last year, and we didn't spend a bit more than we did last year. So just by changing things up and adjusting our strategy, we were able to serve a lot bigger message than we ever have before. We also, so instead, historically we've done advertising and commercials that cover everything. It's always been important. We have to cover all the topics and all the parts of the state. Well, this time we did that, but we also did secondary messaging where we divided it up by target interest. So some of our big marketing categories that we promote are outdoor. We have the most diverse terrain per mile in the nation, and we love to promote that. Our Route 66, Native American, Western culture, museums, festivals, and events. We have a lot of unique things that only we can say. So we did videos. We used ones that we created for the website and ran those out there too to specific target interest groups. And it upped our video view-through rate pretty substantially, higher than the national average. So that was a really good sign that we were on the right track. Yes, I had no idea. I've worked on a lot of client business throughout my career, and I have never worked for an industry that had as many enemies as tourism does. We are affected by everything. You have no idea. So we're affected by our funding. We are dependent on legislators to give us the money to promote the state every year. Our funding for marketing comes from the sales and use tax. A couple of years ago, that amount was capped. It had always fluctuated with the economy, so we knew when it would go up and when it would go down. Well, it was capped at a low amount, and then our revolving funds that we had kind of stored up have also been pulled out. So we're marketing with a very small margin of what we've had historically. But the good part of that is I came into this job knowing that was going to happen. So everything that we've done the last couple of years, we've worked really closely with our ad agency to figure out how to maximize what we're doing for the least amount of money we can do it for. And everything has been geared towards that. It just gets more expensive. Have you noticed, I asked for this and I didn't know if one existed, and our media rep found it for us, but look at the cost of media. So our budget's going that way and the cost of media is going up substantially. Look at spot TV from 2015 to 2016, a 13% increase. So again, one of the things that we face, we have to figure out how to do more with less. All of these things affect us. So when the oil and gas industry hits a slump, it affects us because people don't travel as much. They don't have the disposable income. The state kind of hunkers down. When the value of the dollar in other countries drops while the value of the dollar in the US goes up, international visitation goes down. It's not a good value for them to come visit here, so they stay local. Political cycles. Before a presidential election, travel always drops, especially when it's a highly polarized election like this last one. The whole country was a little apprehensive, not really sure what was going to happen. So everybody sort of froze in place and said, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to spend the money until we see what happens. And then after that, we've seen some drop off internationally as well. And then legislative bills. North Carolina took a huge hit to their tourism industry when they passed the bathroom law. I mean, they lost tourists, they lost conferences, they lost huge sporting events. So things that happen outside of our control really affect how people view us as a state and how our market works. A few more. Weather. We've had to pull spring campaigns off in the middle of our whole big campaign because we had tornadoes going on. I mean, it's crazy how that happens. Earthquakes. When we make the national news and they're talking about all of Oklahoma's earthquakes, that undoes all the work that we're doing to say, no, we're really a great place, I promise. Our perception. People think Oklahoma is flat. They think it's dry. We've never really dusted off the Dust Bowl impression that people have of us. They think we are just one thing. We're Western or we're Native American. They don't have an understanding of how vibrant and big and growing. Once we get them here, they're amazed. They're overwhelmed, both from an economic and business standpoint. Companies, I mean, tourism helps commerce as well because they love it here. But getting them to get here so that we can convince them is challenging. Oh, and by the way, when you Google Oklahoma, that is really what comes up. Tornadoes, number one, but we were number two, so I'm gonna take some pride in that. So we're combating it. So we started a rebranding effort for our website, first and foremost, about 4 years ago. We watch our site analytics really closely, and about 4 years ago, we were getting 35% mobile traffic. The next year, it was 50% mobile traffic, and then it hit 87% mobile traffic, which meant our bounce rate went up substantially because we weren't responsive. So we had to change that. We knew that right away. We also looked at this from the standpoint of what are we telling people about us? What does this message, now look at these pictures, reinforce?
There's nothing to do at home.
And that we're dusty, and that we're only Western. So we were contributing to the misperception that people already had about us. So that was one of the big things that we knew with the new redesign we had to hit head on. We had three main goals with it. One, challenge their ideas of Oklahoma from the second they landed on our site. That was with color, it was with content, it was with video. Everything we did, especially on the homepage, had to be vibrant and constantly new. Also had to be responsive, very, very important. And then it had to be video-centric. So the public, I think the last count was that people spend 5 hours a day on their mobile devices. And the amount of video content consumed, especially by millennials, is on the rise and just skyrocketing. So we knew we had to have video. So in February, we also wanted to be authentic. The authenticity thing came out of a focus group we did of our old television campaign, and we asked them, what do you think of Oklahoma? What do you like about Oklahoma? What are the positive attributes that you know? And everybody said that we were authentic, that the people here were really great, and that we were unique. So we took that and we ran with it. We changed our tagline to "Come see for yourself." We didn't want to tell people, we wanted people to see for themselves. And then listen. So all of the stuff that I told you about, in fact, I was changing a research slide this morning right before the presentation because it changed last night. So listen to that, stay up to date on it, and then change your strategy appropriately. So our new website, color palette, blue. We have blue skies. We have more miles of shoreline than the East and Gulf Coast combined. We have the most man-made lakes in the United States with over 100 million surface acres of water. We have sunshine. We have wide open wonder. That's what we wanted to see. That's what we wanted people to take away from us. This header video changes out seasonally. So every season we show them a new video that has seasonal appropriate activities. Right below that on the page is all of our new articles, and they rotate in on every couple of weeks. We have festivals and events right below that, deals and coupons, because everybody loves deals and coupons. It's one of our most popular sections. Contests, because people like contests, and then our footer information. Launched this in February. It's done phenomenally well. Our bounce rate has decreased. Our time on site has increased. Incidentally, with our old site, we've been in the top 3 for state tourism sites consecutively for the last several years. We're the #1 for page views, up against Florida, California, New York, and that was with a non-responsive site. So we're really excited to see what this can do. And we're constantly evolving it because you have to. So one of the things, a conversion metric that we have is brochure orders. So we have been tinkering with our brochure order page consistently for since we launched this. Do they not understand the accordions? Do we drop down all the things so you can see everything at once? Do we shorten the order form? Just to see how do we make it as friendly as possible. We want people to get where they want to go in no more than 1 or 2 clicks, and we want to make it easy for them. We also did a new branding print campaign. So you saw the land of no boundaries was kind of the umbrella idea for this campaign. And we've rolled that land of as a vehicle out into everything that we're doing now. And as you can see, it works pretty well. The land of smoke and spice for a food article or a food ad in Oklahoma Today's food magazine. The land of the bold and brazen, land of soaring ideas. So we really like how this is working for us, and it gives us a lot of different ways to play with the things that we have here. We also did a new digital campaign. We send a lot of people to Travelocate. Every bit of advertising that we do pushes to the website. It is the #1 hub for all of the industry members here. They all get free listings. They all get to list events and festivals. They all get to list their deals. So we spend a lot of money to send people there and to show them what's available. Well, we didn't want them to hit the new site and go, wait a minute, this doesn't look like what it did, and bounce right back out. And we did see that. So if you're redoing a website, expect some of that, because it does happen. We had a fair amount of bounces right off the bat, and we had to lower our digital campaign to kind of slow it down. So we did this fun little animated campaign in all the different Google sizes for all of our different topics. And we thought, this is going to be really great. It's animated, it's fun, the illustrations match the website, and it is doing well. But in the interim, while we were working on this, we decided to do little static ads that matched some of our most popular articles, like 50 free things to do in Oklahoma and the most beautiful places. So here's a couple of them. 9 most addictive catfish joints in Oklahoma. 8 Oklahoma places to get snuggly, and 7 awesome Native American events. Look at the arrivals. Catfish brought in 620 people to Oklahoma for a little digital ad that was simple to make, easy to run. We spent all that time on those animated ones, and sometimes simple is as effective or more effective, so don't forget that too. We had 577 arrivals from snuggly places. People like their snuggly places. And then Native American events brought in 271. And these just ran in-state, so it doesn't cover in-state arrivals. It only tells us when somebody crosses the border. So these were all surrounding areas within, I think, a 250-mile radius, is that right, that saw these ads. So what we're doing in the meantime is building a whole bunch more. We're going to do them seasonally. We do them for state parks. But we're going to continue to try them out and see if they still work for us. So no big rebrand is complete without a new television campaign. How many of you saw the Oklahoma Song campaign? Okay. So if you saw it, whether you loved it or hated it, you know how memorable that Oklahoma song is. Boy, it is. I will never forget it. I heard it over and over again. So we knew that coming into this, we had to have something that could create that memorability like that. It had to stand out in our marketplace. Everybody is showing you beautiful places and fun things and telling you why they should come to visit your state. And again, it goes back to authentic. Don't show them anything they can't come see. Unique. Show them what they can only come see in Oklahoma. And then listen to them, going back to what do they like to come here to do. So we call this the Dr. Seuss campaign. It's got a very storytelling, we think authentic and approachable voice. It's styled after Charles Osgood, if any of you know who Charles Osgood is. He's a news person, but who always did his stories in rhyme. But it has kind of that your grandfather telling you a story feel to it. So we're pretty proud of it. Hopefully you like it. I've got two 30s to show you. So this is our new campaign. We have two 60s, two 30s, I'm going to scoot back over here, and four 15s that were done by category. We did a family, we did museum and culture, we did Western Native American, and then an outdoor focused one. Great view through online. It did really, really well, as you saw. It only ran for a short time, so we'll probably reuse it again next year, but we're pretty proud of it. So I'm sorry I didn't get to share it with you. We do have it on our YouTube page, so all of them are up there. So lastly, the biggest advice I can give you, this is me. This was actually probably one of the moments when I fell in love with Oklahoma. I'm not native to Oklahoma. I've lived in 7 states, including Hawaii and California, and some places with pretty big scenic vistas. And we were on a 12-day film shoot around the state. And it was just 6 a.m. in the morning till 9 or 11 at night, and you get up and you do it all again the next day. And we were driving from place to place to place, and this is at Wichita Mountains. And I was sitting up there just taking a moment, and the photographer that we had on the crew took this and sent it to me later. But Oklahoma is incredible. I think one of the biggest sad things is that the people who live here don't even know it. I lived here for 20 years and didn't have any idea of all of the incredible things that we have here. And we're our own ambassadors. And thankfully I was really, really blessed to get a boss who encouraged me to take chances. He tells us every day, go out and try it. See if it fails. See if it works. You're not gonna know unless you do it. And he's encouraged us to do that with the ad agency as well. And so we're like, bring us the really cool print techniques. Let's try new digital strategies. So take chances. And hopefully you get to work on something you love, because it's been the best blessing of my career. So.
I really loved how Jennifer touched on the aspect of authenticity and originality, because in Oklahoma we have a rafting center, and we have a team here at the OMC where we do whitewater rafting. Who would have thought you could do whitewater rafting in Oklahoma? It's pretty amazing. My friends and family from out of state just think that's phenomenal. It really is fun, so I highly encourage you to try if you haven't. So does anybody have any questions for Jennifer? I'm going to see if I can make a video play while you're taking questions.
Yeah.
In addition to changing platforms or the ways you reach out to millennials, did you change your messaging at all?
We do a little bit. And we play with it every day. The articles were kind of, or the little tag static ads.
Sorry, but whenever,
Okay.
we get that to play. I think we just have to exit out of the thing.
Okay, and play it from the
Yeah.
PowerPoint. Okay. Yes, we do work on that. We do try to tailor our messaging to each audience, really, whether we're talking to international. By the way, international likes Route 66, Native American, and Western. That's what they want to hear about. But yes, we are working on that and changing it as we go along.
You guys ready for the video?
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
Beautiful. What did you not work? Okay, go back to that.
It may start up here in just a second. Okay, now rewind it.
Where your mind grows wings, or maybe a place to see spectacular things. How about a road where you can get your kicks? Throw music and art into your bag of trips. This is the land of wonders, far and wide. When you're in Oklahoma, just enjoy the ride. Visit travelok.com and explore. Come see for yourself when you want to see more.
And then there's one more right below it.
Like it loud. Some want to just get lost in the crowd. Whatever you like, from mountains to museums, Oklahoma has more. You just have to see them. This is the land of wide open wonder, where excitement runs rampant in the city of thunder. Music and art put on their best faces, and smiles are shared freely in so many places. TravelOK.com invites you to see. Come see for yourself where you'd rather be.
Okay, sorry.
No worries, glad we got that story for you. So, for me, I feel like as digital continues to expand and grow, people forget about focus groups. So I'm curious how frequently you all do them, and with, as you mentioned, sort of a declining budget, how you go about executing those to maximize that budget, because they can be expensive.
They can, and we haven't done a proper traditional focus group in a while. The last two informal or more informal surveys that we've done were SurveyMonkey. We just did one for our outdoor guide, and then we did a parks survey to all of our, using a survey company, to all of the people who had stayed in our parks. So when we do keep them on the table, we'll do them sometimes when we're out in a place. I've become very unshy about listening in on travelers and asking them why they're there, but that's the one that's really kind of dropped to the bottom of our types of research that we do. Yes?
I've been watching you guys for about 5 years. I've been really impressed.
Oh, thank you.
You often would outcompete on SEO. You have some of the best content, you have a great website now. I'm wondering how you structure your team and how you continue to learn.
Well, so the way that, just kind of from a org chart structure, each of my divisions has a division head. So Oklahoma Today has a division head, Discover Oklahoma, our digital content team. So all of them have people and then, or a division head and then their teams as well. We work incredibly collaboratively. It used to be very siloed. Before my boss, he was in my position prior to being the executive director. And one of the things that he and Secretary Snodgrass, when she was the executive director, did, they really wanted to de-silo the agency. So he would have these big meetings, our weekly meeting with the ad agency and internal meetings. And he would say, everybody come. He wanted everybody's input, and what he was doing with that is getting everybody's buy-in. So whether they liked it or they didn't like it, they got to talk about it. And I've tried to continue that as well. I mean, the best thing you can do, surround yourself with people who are smart, who, I mean, they don't have to always match personality-wise, and ours don't. I mean, we have all different types of personalities. But when you get the best people at the table, it helps create the best product. And then send them out. I mean, we have teams going out all across the state. Everybody has something to contribute. When you're looking at a travel guide design, everybody at our table has a different perspective, from whether it's our consumer trade marketing people who've talked to consumers at shows who go and pick up that guide and go, is this your travel guide and how do I use this? To people in our tourism information centers who hear feedback of their own. So don't discount anybody's opinion and try and get as many as you can. It's really kind of my motto. I don't know if I answered your question or not, or if I just talked all the way around. Anybody else? Well, thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jennifer.